You can't build a business without having people help you.
Without further ado, please welcome Layla.
So what I want to show you is actually a sneak peek of our new training division at acquisition.com. This is just the beginning of this.
Oh, I'm nervous about a piece of this. I didn't want to take it out because I would offend him.
I'm just like streams of tears just start pouring down my face.
And I know what this company is going to become, and I want people to see that I make mistakes and that things don't go right.
All right, awesome. How's everybody doing? All right, fantastic. Thank you guys for coming out. Anybody international? Hands? Thank you for making it across. Wow, okay. Well, thank you for making it across maybe an ocean. We spent a long time thinking about what we're gonna do, whether we're gonna do these workshops at all. One thing is pressed upon you, which is that the people who are on stage are people who actually do this. Figuring out what to do is usually significantly harder than doing it. And so a lot of times we spend a lot of time not doing the right stuff.
Watch it sound terrible.
Honestly, a lot of times what we do with businesses is having outside eyes.
Fuck, it's like bleeding.
You need a Band-Aid? No, don't use a Band-Aid. It's gonna look ugly.
And I think there's a Yiddish saying, your mouth is an inch under your nose, but you need someone else to tell you that your breath smells.
We're a couple slides away, it's 9:41. 9:53.
And so sometimes it's just nice to have outside eyes, outside ears on your business to give you a little bit more perspective on what might be wrong.
I definitely do feel like it is flowing.
Better.
Way.
I feel it too.
Now, Layla's gonna lead you guys through an activity, make some of those numbers we talked about real for you. I think you guys are gonna like it a lot.
I did my best.
We started doing these workshops. I expected myself to feel the same way I did 10 or 12 years ago, which is like not liking to be in crowds of people, not liking to be asked a lot of questions, not liking to feel like the spotlight is on me. It was so weird because the first time it happened, I realized that I have changed so much, it's the opposite. I actually love being around a lot of people, and mostly the reason for that is because if I can sit here for an hour or 2 hours and make sure I answer every one person's like burning question, like that could change their entire life.
Thank you guys again so much for coming. We appreciate it. Layla.
You guys ready? Here's what I want to do. I'm going to break down the 3-part framework to find the who, to solve your what and how. Every audience is different. And so even if you're doing the same event, like we're running these workshops, it's a different crowd every time, and every crowd actually receives me differently. I want you guys to have crystal clarity around what you're going to do differently. It is uncomfortable, but can you all commit to this for me? Yes. Love it. Amazing. Let's go. A lot of the fear actually comes around like, does this crowd like me? Do they know me? Are they more fans of Alex? Are they more fans of mine? Like, are they gonna say something? We say gym owners. Why? Because we know that that's going to attract the type of gym that buys our product. I think it's gone from like being generally just like terrified that I'm not gonna perform to like, I've performed enough times feeling like shit and terrified. I don't question that so much as I question things that feel a little bit outside of my control and that I haven't mastered yet. This is the basic stuff that a lot of people avoid, but will make more money in the long term than any sexy tactic will. Because you have to get the right people there. The more you do something, the more that you can do it despite whatever condition is present.
I read $100 million offers and I built my business off of that.
Thank you for saying that. Really cool.
This was incredible because it went in the same level of depth and clarity that Hormozi is trademarked in. The sophistication and simplicity behind what was being taught, and yet the effectiveness of it, it's more than the value that I put in. It's gonna lead to huge differences in my company over time, and I mean, it was everything I thought it would be and more.
The more that I do speeches, it used to be just absolute general nervousness, like, am I gonna flop? Am I gonna fail? Is it not gonna be good? That has dissipated, and now more it is nervousness around how is my tonality gonna come off. Great meeting you.
What's the fine line of like lighting a fire under their ass, but not leading to like fear and punishment and stuff?
There's a difference between punishment and consequences. And if you don't hit these measurements for X amount of time, that means we don't have a job anymore.
Trying to build a team and camaraderie thing.
You can also do it written like on Slack or whatever you might use as your medium. Like that can absolutely be a way to build a culture as well. If you had a full-time employee, would you be able to get more done to grow the business? Definitely. Then do it now. Are you going to be able to make the new thing successful while having the old thing still alive for a year? Or is it more important to you to have the cash flow so that you feel comfortable with the new thing? So you wouldn't want to put a new operator on a new business, but you do want to put a new operator on an old business. Like a lot of traditional salespeople like have a hard time selling to somebody of that stature. It's the people that are running it, and then it's quality control. But you will avoid growing your business if you don't try and get good people. It sounds the most daunting, but it's actually the least lift. Back in 2017, I met Tony Robbins for the first time. And like the first thing he did was he just like put his hand on my shoulder and grabbed my hand, and he was like, "You are such a beautiful person. I can just feel the energy." It was like euphoria, right? Because he was my hero, he changed my life. It gave me so much confidence. During that time, he didn't know, it was like we were like almost bankrupt. We had just started the business, and I was like, this guy thinks that I'm awesome. I think when I did the first workshop, I realized that I am that person for people. I have the responsibility to do that for them. That was done to me. And it's not because I'm special or I'm any, like, it's none of those things. But I think it's just like people see me and they say, like, I want to get to where you are. And they're more likely to get there if somebody who is where they want to be says, you can do it too. I think that's just something I realize is really important to me.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys. Yeah. I look at it like, what are you trying to learn? What do I have to give? Looking to make sure they're a match. So I'll talk to you soon. So on this morning, I got to the office early and the team all gathered, and basically what I was going over is just the vision of where specifically the workshop division is going and how we're going to adjust our people strategy to support it.
It's been such an amazing experience. Like, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
We really, like, it was like fun. It was a great choice.
I just like all of a sudden was like, it feels higher stakes. When people are like, why would you document all this stuff that you're doing in acquisition.com? That's not new, that you haven't done before, all these things. It's like, because I wish that I had had that. And I want people to see that I make mistakes, that we make mistakes, that our team makes mistakes. And I want people to see that how we handle those mistakes. Successful people use mistakes as information to determine what they do next. Unsuccessful people use mistakes as a reason why they should fail and a reason why they shouldn't try again. I always wish that I documented the journey of building Gym Launch, and it's the journey, it's not the outcome. It would have been insane content to like see me as a 23-year-old like flying all over the country and, you know, then hiring a whole bunch of people and like scaling it. That would have been really cool for somebody to watch. I do regret not doing that because I just think it would have been really helpful for people. And now with me doing this, I think I look at it more as just like living the values that I preach, which is like one of the biggest ones for me is being transparent and honest. For me, it's just a way to live out my values by showing people behind the scenes, behind the curtains. Dude, today is like so much different shit. It feels weird. Yeah, it's like.
It should be in 1 minute. It depends on when Ben finishes.
To kind of paint a picture for where workshops is going to go and what the vision has been. Where we're at right now, this is what it's going to end up looking like in the next, I'm gonna say 12 months. That's what this brings me to, is really like, what's our people strategy around this? I think I have come to a conclusion that what I thought would be the strategy from the get-go is not the right strategy. And so the original way that we talked about structuring workshops with portfolio, with really everything, is like, let's build a new team for workshops. And I actually thought about myself. And when we first started acquisition.com and how I had just been doing in Gym Launch. You know, I wasn't teaching, I wasn't making content. You know, maybe yes, I was teaching the team and such, but I realized that when I started making content, I got way better at what I was doing. It's ironic, but in order to learn something better, you must teach it. And so I actually think that it's a huge advantage for everybody in here, because if we want to learn how we do our jobs better, then we teach. And we could go out there and we could hire a bunch of like fucking, I don't know, professional presenters to do this shit, or we could create one big team that has multiple different skills and not put too much pressure on any one person, but share the load over a larger group of people. Honestly, I think everybody in this room and out of this room, they came here to learn. I decided to switch to having our team present, and I'll be honest, I think I had a lot of outside influence making me think like we couldn't do both. It would be too hard logistically. But I just took a step back and I was like, would I want to attend an event where people were just professional presenters? I detest those events. And when I painted that vision for them, I think everyone was really excited because, you know, it's more growth opportunity. There's more skills that they get to learn. There's more activities and variance in their job. Like, the attendees learn from people who actually do the thing. They actually have the credibility. Like, I don't want to put somebody up there who can just talk but doesn't know the subject they're talking on, because I don't think that would actually teach people. So, building the workshop team, the schedule, the speaker training so we can reliably fulfill. This already has become an issue because I realized that I probably won't be present at the April. You know, Frank has stepped up and he's like, I'm gonna take your spot to present. And then it made me think, I'm like, how many more people can learn to present? You know, and then I was like, I should expedite this.
Who that you need. So my commitment to you is that by the end of this time together, you will know how to solve the constraint in your business without
more of your time. So,
what's different? Why should they work for you and not the other company down the street?
yeah.
Why should they work for your marketing agency and not his marketing agency?
Yeah, there we go.
What's different?
Yeah. All right. So, do we say EVP or don't even say that word?
I just say what's your unique value proposition?
Yeah, they know that. Cool. All right, exercise 4. What would compel your who to work for your company?
I had the goal of essentially like me getting out of any presenting at the workshops and me just taking that same time and just putting it into talking to more people, networking, answering people's questions. I'm not gonna be in them less, I'm just gonna be putting my effort towards more individual attention rather than like one-to-many speaking. And then what I didn't realize is that I decided to go through a process of freezing my eggs. I basically started the process and then I realized that the surgery was going to be the week of these events. And so I was like, holy shit, I have to expedite this as fast as possible to get some people to cover me. I asked Frank, I didn't just throw him to the wolves. Like I put together like a whole speaker training plan. And then I was like, they can do it. I will help them. It will be fine. Dude, once you like rehearse it multiple times, it's gonna be fucking butter.
It's good in my bedroom.
It's good in my bedroom.
I think I walk too much, but I'll stop that.
I don't think the walking, I think the tonality, the walking, the volume of your voice, I think that's all on point. It's just knowing the slides more, and we'll just go through them more. I was really happy that Frank stepped up, Neil stepped up, the whole team did.
That was really good on a short time frame.
I think practicing up there is good though.
Yeah, I agree practicing up there is good. Yeah, that's why I did it.
This is already part of the bigger plan, which the bigger plan is that we have like 4 people that can do my presentation.
I wanted to show you guys something.
We got the catch boxes.
So this is because Davina and I were trying to run around, give people microphones. By the time we got to them, they were already halfway through their question. So Layla reminded me of the catch boxes.
We use them at gym launch, yeah.
I was thinking of 2 on each side. But
I don't think we want to use during presentations this time.
No. Q&A.
But Q&A, yes.
Q&A.
Each time we have an event, I'm writing down the things that I see that we can do differently where there's friction. And so, for example, passing a mic to somebody when they want to ask me a question and I'm doing a Q&A, it takes like 10 seconds to get them the mic versus there's these boxes and you can throw it to somebody and then they can have it instantly.
When we do Q&A, we might want to just say something very brief, like, because are you still going to be picking the person and the person before is going to be throwing it to the person that you picked, or are they going to be popcorning it? So just something to think about.
We don't do popcorn for that, no.
Meant more so like, whoever they throw it to next.
Yeah. If you're iterating something, if you want to improve something, constantly look for ways to eliminate friction rather than ways to make it better. You guys excited? Yeah. I gotta get excited. So I'm gonna pretend to be Alex. And now, Layla's gonna lead you through an activity to make some of these numbers real for you. We've actually spread it out so that we have people practicing in the mornings and we have people practicing in the evenings. Whenever I'm available and somebody's doing it, I'll go up there and I will be a student just like anybody else. And they're like, redo it, again. And I'm like, fuck, okay. But it's like, that's what it takes. Awesome. Did you guys like that? Yes. Nice. I never want people to think it's something it's not. I don't want people to come to these workshops and think there's like this unreachable team that like I could never become. It's like, why could you not accomplish these things? It makes it easier for people to conceptualize accomplishing it if they see what it looks like behind the scenes. So it's a brand new idea that we have to help companies that are not portfolio ready, but could be in the next 18 to 24 months. Until now, there's no way that we could help companies that weren't portfolio qualified or weren't already in our portfolio. We couldn't help people who wanted more. And honestly, when we started Acquisition.com, I had no fucking idea the amount of people that would want help and the gap between the amount of people that wanted it and the amount of people that would actually be getting it. But after 4 years of doing after doing a retroactive, I need to change this something. Myself, Trevor, and Alex that kind of built this way of practicing. As somebody's practicing, especially if it's my presentation, if they get to a part where they get stuck, they don't say the slide correct, redo. We will only do 3 things. 1, confirm the constraint. 2, identify the solution. And then 3, break the actions down step by step so you know exactly what to do next. The same stuff we do with our own portfolio companies. We're just gonna do it with you. Oftentimes what ends up being is that we get through like the first 20 minutes of a presentation because we continue to say, hey, if that part wasn't good, we're not gonna keep going. We're gonna go back and redo it 2-3 times, and now we'll move forward. Because then they can move forward with confidence rather than knowing that they messed up all these different parts. We've just seen that to work really well, mostly because of the latency of the feedback. The likelihood they do it again correctly is very high. Grab your scorecards from earlier. If everyone can actually grab something, so this is the piece I wanna time. Can I see it? Oh, so it's the next thing. As soon as he showed me when they broke this down, I was like, fuck, I could have just made them like back to, you know what I mean? So it's the back of one is one, but We'll do it next time. Okay, cool. Rip it out if you want to rip it out, or you can just flip back and forth. If you look at like some of the best athletes, basically what they would do is every night after a game, they would watch it immediately to know what to do differently the next day for practice. I think it's just like the latency of the feedback is very important in these situations. The math just makes me nervous, but I'm really okay.
So Neil's gonna get started.
I think that the strategy that I set out is likely to get us to our goal faster, because loading a team with people who have very specialized skills, yes, it works, but there's also a cost of extra communication, extra handoff. And so like the more people you add, that exponentially grows the amount of communication pathways there are in a company. I have always looked at it like, as you grow a company, you want to eliminate communication pathways.
Game time. Thank you, buddy.
Neil, I'm just waiting to get my computer, and then so I can just take notes if there's like any pieces that are sticky.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate
Ladies, the lighting on the stage looks way better.
I had the same feedback too. It looks awesome.
You look lit up.
I look lit up.
Yeah,
It's
like
lit.
proper. I don't know what's
I got a 540 on Interstate 285.
Great cop.
I can't think of you got.
I think that it doesn't make sense for a lot of people because a lot of people don't want to invest this much into their people. People don't do this because they're scared people will leave them. People will leave me, and that is okay. I will take that cost because I think that lots of people will stay. You can either have somebody leave you because you suppress them, or you can have them leave you because you've invested so much in them they don't need you anymore. I would rather be the latter because I don't suppress people. Are we ready to start, or is there something with them?
The mic is not working.
Oh, nice. So I'll ask that you guys be participants.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay.
When he calls on anything, and I'm gonna be taking any notes.
Answer any questions?
Fake answers. Does that work?
2 participants.
Nice, full house today. So did everyone enjoy break? Had a good time, got to meet some people. Part of the real value in this workshop is you get to meet each other and connect with other people who are just like you. I am Neil, by the way. I'm the portfolio operating partner here at acquisition.com. I am responsible for overseeing the portfolio. I will be presenting, but also you actually get to go through a worksheet that should be in front of you as well. So next we're gonna talk about risk. But before we do that, I have one thing, which is you guys get to take a break. We'll convene back here in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Super smooth.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Really well done. I made a note on what I thought pacing the first 3 value adders faster than the last 3.
Faster, yeah. Awesome.
Like overall, really great delivery. Love the lollipop engagement.
Yeah. The thing that's different about this is we are now magnifying and accelerating our efforts. This was definitely a new experience for me. I've done some presentations. It's not like completely new to me, but definitely doing this as consistently as we have and as many people as we have with an audience as capable as the audience is for these events, like that's just totally new and can be a little bit intimidating at times. But I think that like having done a few of these and seeing the impact that it drives. So where before I would work with maybe like 10 portfolio companies, now every single workshop I get to work with 100 different companies. And a lot of times people are leaving that, they get like tons of value from just being able to ask us questions, learn from our experience, the pattern recognition that I've learned by dealing with our portfolio. I get to hand that to others and see them actually make an impact on their business. These events are just so powerful when you look at it through that lens. To me, one of the biggest ways to improve, a technique called drilling. You just do it over and over and over again. And so I'm drilling my presentations, we're drilling our roundtable questions. I'm working with portfolio companies and thinking about how can I take some of the learnings from that and apply it to a workshop. These are all great things to learn, but until you actually step foot on stage, it then becomes real. That's the game situation. Does that sound cool, exciting? Thank you. You guys get it.
How was it?
That was good.
Yeah?
The crowd was good, really engaged.
Oh, cool.
I think there's some good questions they're asking.
Oh, great.
They're gonna love your session.
I would say that the approach wasn't like, how do we monetize the deal flow? But a friend of mine said something really interesting to me, which he was like, you just aren't giving people what they actually want. You are just not giving it to them because you're afraid, which was more what it was of like, the vision when we started acquisition.com, I'll tell you, it had workshops involved. I was like, I want to have a campus. The brand grew, especially Alex's brand, because his has grown so much faster than mine. I started feeling afraid of what to do with acquisition.com because I was like, now he goes on and has content that's like talking about all this stuff, giving away all this free value. I'm like, how are people gonna feel when acquisition.com, which is different from Alex, launches these workshops and events and like all these other things that we want to do in the future? And so I just kind of stayed stuck for like a year. Just had this epiphany one day where I was like, this is so fucking stupid. I'm just gonna be honest with people, and if they don't like that, then they're not for me and I'm not for them, and that's fine. this is what I like doing, and what my team likes doing, it's what we're good at. And if, running the portfolio, it takes time, but we have lots of excess resources. And so I look at it like, what can you do with the sawdust that's left over after you've chopped the wood or sawed the wood or whatever? This looked like a great option that produces content, helps people who can't be or one day will be portfolio companies but aren't yet, especially people from out of country, which is like having all those excess resources, having this vision for what acquisition.com is to become. I felt like it was a good step to accelerate that vision. And I think the only thing that stopped me from prior to now was just fear. Well, cool. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of lunch. How to go about building a $1 billion business. I'm just guessing, the way that I do things is very different from a lot of the people I know that do have businesses at that size. Maybe it won't work. I'm gonna try because I would rather not hit the goal and at least know I stuck with my values than not stick with my values and hit the goal.
All right, everybody. If you don't mind, I'd love to have you take your seats. Welcome back. You guys had a good lunch. I love hearing the roaring here, good conversations. People get to know each other, grabbing some of our subject matter experts. Awesome. The next presentation is one that I know you guys will all love, and there's no one better to talk about this, to help you guys get there, than our CEO. So, our next presentation, How to Get Your Who, is going to be done by our very own Layla Hermosi.
Rock? Yeah. Right. Well, I feel like this is a heavy crowd. I kind of like it. Okay. I like it. Temperature check is good. Let's go. I think there's a difference between learning a new speech and practicing one that you have done many times. Like a first-time speech, I tend to over-prepare out of compulsion. I'll literally even practice while I'm doing my hair. Just because what I'm trying to do, memorize the words so that when I present, it's not me reading slides, it's me knowing the presentation. That's for a first time. Once you have something that you're regularly presenting the same thing, I still always will practice at least one time the morning of, because I want it to be top of mind for me to show up my best self. We're gonna talk about how to get your who, whether you guys have 2 teammates or you've got 200, whether you're making $100,000 or $100 million, we're gonna dive into a couple things, which is really how to craft, interview, and select for the who that you need. I think if anything, you just learn that there are no shortcuts and that you have to prepare more than anybody else. If you're somebody who really cares and really puts a lot of weight on the things you do, you take yourself seriously, you take your job seriously, you take your company seriously, you take what you do for your customers seriously, you're gonna have to fucking practice, because it's easy to do a lot of things when you don't give a shit. But if you really care and you put that pressure on yourself, you're gonna really have to practice. And I think that's just what I've learned for myself is I practice because I care, and I care because I practice. It's like a reinforcing loop. But like, because I care so much about everything I do, I practice more. Otherwise, the nerves are too much, and then I don't show up well in any of the situations. I probably compulsively practice and compulsively over-prepare simply just because I think that's what's required for my personality. I just give a lot of fucks. This is the last reminder for you guys that the faster you implement this and what you heard here today, the faster you learn. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
How was Layla's talk? Love the value there. We're going to start the Q&A session with Alex.
So after my presentation, Alex then made his way to the stage for his Q&A.
So, I'd like to introduce the next speaker. Please welcome Alex Hermosi.
How's it going? Sweet. Good lunch? All right, hopefully I don't get the insulin dip. Okay, so I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can. I'm heavily stimulated. And so I'm gonna talk fast, and so I will give you the advice that I say to everybody, which is just listen fast. Cool, so who's got the first one? This side. Actually, right here, go.
Legit, I've seen your content for years, man. Even when you wrote out Gym Launch Secrets, I didn't even own a gym, I read it, and it was incredible.
Thanks.
Every time someone asks you a question, you almost always frame it with, here's a framework. My question is, how do you go about creating these frameworks?
I create frameworks so that I can remember stuff. If I have to do something more than once, I don't want to have to rethink of the answer again. After a certain amount of reps, you're like, okay, a lot of it is actually just looking at the data and trying to figure out what do these all have in common.
That makes sense.
You're the best hair here.
Soft skills training and development company, so we're having a hard time quantifying the ROI of our training and coaching.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of companies asking for hard case studies with those numbers.
Yeah. If you can drive a financial outcome, then obviously it's gonna be really easy to sell. Part of your onboarding process is great. We need to fill out this intake form together. Let's fill it out. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, Miss Pink.
We partnered up. She created a hair extension line that is a rapid install, 10 minutes versus 2 hours. I think we made the mistake of making the hair extension certification and the consulting offer 2 separate offers instead of 1. To get people in the door for the hair extension certification, much lower cost to acquire a client.
Sure.
The holding on to that client doesn't happen when they just do that extension certification. So too much drop off. Do I just combine them?
This is a really interesting business case. I see this as not 2 businesses, but a front end, back end. Number 1, I would stop marketing this, only market the other one. So you sell that to sell this. Let's use common sense. There's way more people who want to buy this than want to buy this. So you might have 10 or 100 times bigger market of people who might potentially buy this thing. So sell the thing that the market wants, and then the only action item for you guys, in my opinion, is you grease this groove.
Got it.
Is you have to create a choreographed upsell process from hair extensions to the back-end consulting. And send me a postcard when you make millions of dollars.
I came from a painting background, and then I realized that all of my customers leave me for 20 years when I finish painting their house. Then I said, what if I do something that's recurring, like window cleaning? And so now that we're scaling, we just hit about 4.5 million, and we're wondering from marketing's perspective, like how far down that road do we go of building out the deck people as a seemingly different business? Do we take that marketing strategy and do it for the 6 other services that we offer?
Yeah.
Or does it become too operationally heavy?
Yeah. If I were transposed as CEO into this business tomorrow, I would continue to market the thing that is converting the highest percentage of the audience. And then I would be really, really intentional about my ascension process or cross-sell process from windows to paint. But after you close the first sale, like the next time, you gotta be like, hey, by the way, last time we were here, we were painting the windows. We couldn't help but notice you have this leak here, you've got this leak here, and we could paint all over that. And actually, you're kind of behind. I don't know if you saw the Johnsons down the street. We actually did those too. We have a painting partner. It's kind of a sister company of ours that handles all that stuff. Would that be any interest to you? Make it happen on purpose.
I wanted to figure out how to get better at ads, and the second thing that I wanted to figure out was how to go after hiring a leadership team. Through this process, what I realized was that I don't just need to have a leadership team, probably need to solve both problems with one solution, which is hiring a director of marketing. And one of the big unlocks is that I've kind of been avoiding that major hire, hiring someone who's much smarter than me. Layla said it like very directly to me, which was, at the end of the day, you're gonna fuck it up. Either you're gonna fuck it up now, and then you're gonna figure it out in 6 months, and then you're gonna start making an extra $1 million a year, or you're gonna wait 2 years, and then you're gonna do it, and then you just lost all of that money that you would have made in between now and the 2 years when you decide to start doing it, so you might as well just start now.
Make your ways peacefully to each of your assigned spots. The thing is, we as speakers will rotate and enjoy.
I am so excited for today. After like the first 2 presentations yesterday, I just like felt like I had already gotten the value I wanted out of the event. So just the fact that there's like a second day, it's like, oh my God.
Cherry on top.
Like, yeah, an entire, like, another Sunday. So many cherries.
We have all of our portfolio team doing what we call roundtables, which is where people can come up and they can ask their one question to that subject matter expert about that specific topic.
So I want to make sure we get around to everyone, so I'll kind of start this way and we'll go around. One question, then we'll go for seconds.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Questions you can ask me is anything, because I probably have seen it across the portfolio.
And so anything related to customer journey, do we have upsell questions? Do we have ascension questions?
The next question that a lot of people have when it comes to creating content is, how do I keep variety? The variety will be the human.
So you still need to learn something, because you can't just hire someone when you know nothing and hope that they're going to be great, because you might hire somebody to start.
I mean, you could probably get away with a marketing director, but make sure they have experience at least 3 to 5 years in media buying.
And so anytime I look at like, diving into a sales process, I look at what fall-off points do we have.
Selling to a completely different audience and results matter.
You want to test 2 different audiences. You want one that is an open target. The second is a more targeted audience based on demographic information you have or the audience signals you're aware of your audience type.
Which means you just have to have a lot of conversations with people, and the first few are going to feel like really awkward, but you're just asking them questions.
Because I would not hold anything back. All the value that you give in the group, I would show that externally.
Pull in your heads of marketing, your sales team, your product.
When we see a business that we think is inefficient in the way that it is monetizing itself, it is because they have not figured out how to take these assets, package them in a way that creates the greatest outcome.
Ensure that it is aligned with the goals, the strategies of the company.
You invent ideas, and then you build financial models. It will demonstrate excellence, and it will build trust.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can find me after.
After the roundtable, the guests now are going to take their seats for my Q&A.
All right, we'll kick off the Q&A.
So I get like the leftovers of the leftovers now, which is basically first you guys get to talk to the whole team, ask them all your questions. Then you get Alex, you get the one question answered by him. I don't even know why I'm here anymore, but we're going to go for it. So if you've got a question, shoot your hand up as high as possible so I can see it. All right, you shot your hand up first.
Question is mostly where to find top talent.
I think based on the roles that you're looking for, and based on how big your company needs to be, how many of these people you need in a role, you approach it differently. So it's like, what are the companies that are similar to yours in some way, and then looking at the people that are in those companies, if that makes sense.
So trying to get like someone from another company, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the best people have jobs. I mean, best would be 40 businesses that you could reach out to specific people that you know have the skill set.
So a little context, and you may be the only person that can answer this question.
No pressure.
No pressure. I've been with my wife since I was 15. Started my first company when I was 17. Had some really successful stuff, and we lost everything in our 20s. And she's always been this just loyal supporter of mine. 7 years later, I brought her into the company. She's grown up now as our director of operations. Is pretty much running the whole thing. The real question is, how do I help her overcome her security of how great she really is?
One of our friends did this exercise, and he came to our house and said, what's the one thing that if I did or didn't do would make me the most powerful version of myself? I then took that question, asked every person I knew, and every person came back to me, and all 6 people said the same thing, which was like, you actually don't know how good you are, and you don't act like it, and you act very insecure. So I can resonate with that. I think she has no motivation. I didn't feel a need to change until we started acquisition.com. Because I was behind the scenes the whole time, and I was totally cool with the fact of like, nobody knew who I was, and they thought I was just like Alex's secretary. I was like, whatever, I don't give a shit. Because I was scared, to be honest, with like putting myself out there and being more prominent in that way. And so I think that when I realized that in order for us to build and fulfill the vision that we had for acquisition.com, I had to rid myself of that insecurity. And I was like, I can't be that person and run that business. That was when the pain of remaining how I was became greater than the pain of changing. I think that she's in a position right now where the pain is not high enough, so it makes complete sense. Why would she change? I would think of some big project to give her that if she did it, she would have to get over that insecurity. Ask her to take it on from a position of like, I really need your help. I can't do this. It could probably put her in a position where remaining the same, she feels like she would let you down, and I think that she would probably change. And I think that is just helping her become a better version of herself. Right here in the white shirt in the middle.
So I want to know your take on a great person in a role that knows exactly what they're doing, how to get you to this problem, but maybe not a perfect culture fit, and then what your take was on it.
If they're not a perfect culture fit, I wouldn't do it. I would rather take somebody who has less of the skill that I need and train them up to the best of my ability, or facilitate their training through something else, than I would sacrifice on the culture. Because it always becomes a bigger problem later down the road, and then you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have done it.
Gotcha, thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Okay, thank you guys.
I can say like, this is where everything's gonna go, but like, I think it's a matter of how you build it. And something I've been very adamant about, my whole team knows, is like, I don't want to be the typical place that churns people out, yells at people, and like, that's not the kind of boss I want to be. That's not the kind of environment that I want to walk into every day. That's not the kind of environment I want people to work in.
Thank you guys for coming up. If everyone wants to grab a glass of champagne, I just want to take a second to say, like, crushed it this week. Like, murdered. Like, this is unheard of. We are the team that will scale this, and like, the foundation we're setting right now is for everyone else that's about to come in over the next 12 to 24 months. And I just really appreciate every single person here.
You can't build a business without having people help you. You know, like, one person cannot build a business. And so I don't understand why you would not want to grow people within the business to become leaders, because eventually if you don't have those people, then you become the only leader with like
tens of people reporting to you, and that's just like not tenable. And so I just want to say, like, I appreciate all of the work that you all put in this week, because you guys were all helping each other. You all got here early. You all stayed late. You were all amazing to the guests. You all tried to get there to make sure that you could help, like, and you guys were just ultimately like competitive greatness to the max. And I just want to say, like, I appreciate all of you, and this is just the beginning of this. Constantly thinking, like, when I'm doing something that's necessary to make something work, who can I pass this off to as quickly as possible? Because if you want the business to grow, then you have to grow. If you want the business to change, then you have to change. And so it all starts at the top. Yeah, just so you guys know, like I know that there's all this stuff that like we feel like is going wrong, and it's like, oh, these little cracks and things people say, and you'll hear one person complain, but like the little things can feel loud, but that speaks volumes. I just want to put that out there for you guys, because I also am somebody who cares about the little things. Yeah.
Yeah, we're 4 months in. We started January like 9th.
But like seeing that means more than any little thing that could go wrong or whatever. Like, you're all fucking awesome. So cheers to all of you. But that concludes our event. I think that in terms of measurement of success, it was better than the last one. And that is what I focus on each time, is like each one, the experience gets better and better. And I think I can say that it was absolutely a success in that way. Is it perfect? No. But is it better than the last time? Yes. And so I'm really proud about that.